VFL Park Waverley, Seven Sport in association with the Australian Football Championships proudly present this exclusive telecast of the $450,000 Escort Championships. Your commentators are Peter Landy and Lou Richards, with special comments from triple Brownlow medalist Bob Skilton and dressing room comments from Jack Edwards and Doug Wade.
Thank you very much indeed, and a very good evening everyone from VFL Park, the grand final of the 1981 Escort Championships. And what a magnificent crowd we have here at VFL Park. Just looking around the outer at the moment, probably in the vicinity of the 30,000 mark. And despite the fact that the ground could be a little bit on the damp side, I think we will find the conditions this evening are ideal for football. And so, after 4 long months of competition between the top teams right throughout Australia, we see Essendon and Carlton in the night grand final. It is indeed a night of firsts. Neither has won a night premiership before. Neither has met each other in a night grand final before. Although Carlton have come very close because they've been runners-up on no fewer than 4 occasions. And the last time here in the Escort Championships, they were runners-up to Hawthorn in 1977. As I said, a very big crowd building up. Let's go now to Stephen Phillips, who is at the main entrance of VFL Park.
Thanks, Peter. The conditions out here are absolutely frigid, as you are no doubt aware. VFL Park manager Ralph Lane told me a short while ago that despite the plummeting mercury, which is down around the 6-degree mark at this very moment, the crowds are still pouring in. He doesn't expect the attendance figures to reach the 50,000, which created a record in last year's grand final of the Escort Championship between North Melbourne and Collingwood, but he does expect a crowd of around 30,000, which would be very good indeed on such a cold night. He told me the ground is very heavy indeed. They've had something like 6 inches of rain in the last 6 weeks. Both coaches arrived about an hour ago. They took their teams down for a team meeting and then went out to have a look at the ground. The ground, as I said, very heavy indeed. Mr. Lane said you'd need gumboots to walk across if you didn't have the boots on. But a good crowd filling the ground here at this very moment. The atmosphere is fantastic. There's nothing like a grand final, and they're here for a good match between Essendon and Carlton. I'll be back talking to you a little later.
Right, thanks very much indeed, Steve. And yes, I must agree with you about the grand final atmosphere. It really does have something extra, a match to decide a championship, and that is a grand final. We'll be back here at VFL Park for further comments in just a few moments' time. On the 7 networks throughout Australia, you're watching the grand final, or the preparations for the grand final of the 1981 Escort Championships, and that shot on screen at the moment is taken right next to the Northwestern Tower light here at the stadium, and it certainly does give a magnificent panorama of the scene for tonight's action. In the background, you can see the huge crowd on the outer. I would probably take a guess and say in the vicinity of 30,000, and I'm sure that we're going to really see a top-class match here tonight, going right throughout Australia on the 7 network. Well, we have a very important dinner this evening to climax the official ending of the Escort Championships for 1981. Stephen Phillips is a busy man this evening, and let's go up to him now on level C of the magnificent VFL Park complex for that official dinner.
Escort Cup. It's the dream for 2 teams tonight here at VFL Park. $450,000 in prize money, and the winning team will walk away with more than $80,000. The chairman of the Australian Football Championships, Dr. Alan Aylett, will make the presentation in just a couple of hours. Alan, a fantastic series coming to an end.
Yes, it's probably been the best one so far, Stephen. We're hoping for a very, very exciting match tonight, but we can do without the drama that we had at the end of last year's
I wanted to ask you, are the umpires going to wear beepers tonight?
Oh, I think that they've got everything on tonight. They certainly have.
It's a great crowd building up. Ralph Lane estimated the crowd building up towards 30,000.
Yes, I would think so. And of course, if we do get 30,000, if that eventuates, we'll be very, very happy. Last year, of course, there were 50,000 people. Collingwood were playing, and that means that extra 10,000. But if we get over 30,000, a good result.
Well, behind us here in the VIP dining room, we've got dignitaries from all over Australia who are hoping to see a real feast of football tonight.
Yes, well, we have a National Football League meeting tomorrow, and also a meeting of the board of Australian Football Championships. All of the states are represented for those meetings, and of course they're here tonight. We have 4 state league presidents with us, and they're very, very keen to see a good game too, of course.
You'll be discussing next year's championships at this meeting tomorrow?
Yes, we'll be reviewing the series of this year, and we will be putting forward a format to the board, and that will be taken back to the other leagues and will be debated and final decision made in October.
On a personal note, I know you played night football in the cold old days at South Melbourne. It must be miles away now.
Yes, well, I was speaking to Graham Arthur only a few moments ago, and of course Graham Arthur holds the record for the most number of games in the night series at 23, and he holds it in fact with a former teammate of mine, John Dugdale. I didn't quite make that many because I'd retired 2 or 3 years earlier, but they were the days.
Well, there was nothing to be proud of in those days because it meant you played for a bottom side, but these days, of course, we've got the absolute crack teams fighting it out for the prize money.
Well, as well as bottom side, it was also for the bottom dollar. That's where things have really changed, Stephen.
$200 in 1956 and $450,000 in 1981. Well, Alan, may the best team win.
Yes, I'm certain it'll be a great game, Stephen.
Thank you, and back to you, Peter.
Thank you, Stephen, and thank you, Dr. Aylett. Well, how vividly I recall those nights in the South Melbourne Outer back in the 50s and 60s. It really was night football in its earliest form, can we say. Well, tonight we have the grand final, as we've mentioned. That's why we're here. But 34 teams from throughout Australia have competed in this magnificent series right throughout the year. They've fielded good teams, some not so good, but the battles here at VFL Park have really been spectacular from start to finish. We've seen some magnificent efforts, some not so good, but by and large, players who really put in everything. Let's find out how the two teams for tonight's grand final finally made it to this great occasion.
Back in March, when Essendon met Fitzroy in the opening match of the 1981 Escort Championships, both clubs were looking to the beginning of a new era. Essendon had appointed former Richmond veteran Kevin Sheedy as coach to replace Barry Davis, and the Lions had completely revamped their administration and had another rookie coach in Robert Walls. This night at VFL Park, it was to be the Bombers who got the season away to a bright start. Essendon went on to win by 42 points, with the final scoreboard showing Essendon 13 goals, 16-94 to the Lions 7 goals, 10-52.
The full forward position players set themselves. Van der Haag, now that's Carmen, a real Stanley Matthews job.
Exactly a month later, the young Bombers ended South Australian club Port Adelaide's hopes with another convincing performance. While the Bombers had started the VFL season in spectacular fashion, losing to Geelong by a kick and then beating North Melbourne, the youngsters had no trouble adapting to the floodlights at the park. This night, they were to effortlessly defeat Port by 49 points, kicking 15-17, 107 to 8-10, 58.
He's got the mark about 45-50 metres out from goal. Another short pass, it bounces right there for Nagel. He breaks clear, runs to an open goal and fires. And it's right through the middle by the acting captain tonight.
Against night football experts Hawthorn, the Bombers' run was expected to come to an end. But again, Sheedy's men came to the fore. It was June the 2nd, and a glimpse at the VFL ladder would have revealed the Hawks lying in third place with 7 wins, and the Bombers beginning a remarkable run. In this quarter-final, the Bombers had their closest match of the season, but still won by 3 goals to earn a place in the semis.
And that could be the one that fixes them up. It's a goal.
From their tightest match to their best victory of the series, the Bombers won their first grand final berth with a stunning 55-point win over South on June the 23rd. In 4 matches, Essendon kicked consistently, recording 13, 15, 14 and 13 goals respectively, while its opponents ran out losing by margins of 42 points, 49 points, 18 points and 55 points.
Michael Thompson, and I think has made it. Mark taken there by Jeff Burdett to Bennett, right in the circle.
But now, for the first time in 25 years of night football, the Bombers were through to the grand final. And for the first time in the Escort Championships, they meet the Blues. After being knocked out in its first appearance in the 1979 and 1980 Escort Championships, Carlton got off to a very shaky start in the 1981 competition. The Blues were excused from playing the first round, courtesy of a bye, but were confronted by Royce Hart's Bulldogs in the second round on May the 19th. The second side on the VFL ladder versus the bottom side. But how close Carlton came to being upset. The final scores showed the Blues scraping in by 7 points. 3 times in 5 years, Carlton and Richmond have met in quarter-finals or semi-finals. And when they met on June the 9th, the record showed a winner piece. Carlton by this time was on top of the VFL ladder and used the vital quarter-final against the Tigers to blood youngsters, notably a sharpshooter named Karkamoulis, and he didn't let the Blues down. It was to be another close shave for the Blues. In fact, a 9-point victory, with the huge VFL Park scoreboard reading Carlton 10-10-70 to Richmond 8-13-61.
Passes out to Landy, but he couldn't take it. Here's Corker-Mealas having a flying shot at goal from 12 metres out, and handball to Mackay. Into the square he moves, fires and puts it through for another one. And played down there, but he's decided to go for the long kick, Francis. Into the goal square it comes. I don't think that was touched. Marku in the goal square, puts it through for a goal to Carlton. Yes, sir, it's all clear.
Against North Melbourne in the semi-final, Carlton's kicking was woeful in the slippery conditions, with only 9 goals scored from 27 attempts. A look at Carlton's scoring over the 3 matches in 1981 showed a remarkable similarity, however, and one David Parkin will be hoping to improve on tonight. The Blues kicked 67 points against Footscray, 70 against Richmond, and 72 points against North, which could only manage 4 goals 6-30.
Down it comes to Lenihan, back to Bazasto. Bazasto messing around a little bit, shoots out the pass, back to Lenihan again, fires at goal, and this time he's put it through for 4 points.
Buckley's run on that half-forward line, but he gets away and hooks the ball back. A chance now for...
It was another victory to Carlton, and its second grand final appearance. The first, ironically, against Hawthorn back in 1977, when David Parkin coached the Hawks to victory.
So that's North Melbourne's death knell, I would say. They're finished for tonight.
And so Carlton and Essendon, the form side to the 1981 Escort Championships. We'll be back for further comment in just a moment. Well, back at VFL Park, Grand Final atmosphere is certainly getting to us all. A huge crowd here for tonight's Grand Final, and probably at the moment in the vicinity of 35,000. But as I said, they're still coming in. Large queues outside the ground at the moment. Well, Alan Aylett, in his interview with Stephen Phillips just a few moments ago, mentioned that he had played a large number of night games. Let's go once again up to Stephen and find out what it's like to play night football.
Well, back in the old days, back in the late 50s and early 60s, a great record in night football was nothing to be really all that proud of. But Graham Arthur here, the former captain and coach of Hawthorn, played 23 games at night, all at South Melbourne, Graham.
Yes, that's right, Stephen, yes. South Melbourne, certainly not in conditions like we have at VFL Park.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. What was the difference between playing night football out here at VFL Park and those days, very cold days at South Melbourne?
Well, I would think that just the lighting, basically. I suppose the ground itself is a far improved ground, this particular VFL Park. But the South ground, I always enjoyed playing there, but night football, you know, I think you can run all night. It's a game where you never really get as tired as day football. There was a lot of theories being thrown around in those days as to why that happened.
Graham, were there ever instances where you couldn't see your opponents down at South?
Oh, there was a private little pocket down in one corner that was always dark on the rest of the ground. That was a Ken Boyd corner, we call that one.
It must make your pockets water to think that the prize money these days is $450,000, and I think the competition in 1956 was worth £200.
I noticed that just the other day. I looked up some records there, Steve. It was £200, yes. Yeah.
And you're still heavily associated with the league, of course?
Yes, with the country side of things, Steve, and going along very well. It's been 18 months now of great delight.
Well, Graham, it's a record that I suppose will go down in the record books forever. 23 games of night football. It's one you share with John Dugdale.
That's right. It's Duggar and I, and we had many a tussle on the South Melbourne ground.
Thanks, Graham Arthur.
Right, thanks very much indeed, Stephen. Well, the schoolboys match here has just finished in the Herald Shield. It did result in a win to Chisholm, 13-7-85, defeating Massanutt College quite convincingly to 4 goals, 30 points. Well, Graham Arthur, one of the veterans of night football. Let's just check now on some of the players that you'll be seeing in tonight's grand final between Thank you, Don Rainsford. Well, again, that's the view from the northeastern tower light here at VFL Park. Huge crowd still building up, probably now around about the 40,000 mark. Well, the players are just about getting ready to come onto the field, and the atmosphere in the rooms, I'm sure, at the moment is electric. Let's go first of all to Jack Edwards.
Yes, Peter, you're dead right about that. It certainly is a magnificent side here too. The Essendon cheer squad have done this room up beautifully. They've got all the balloons, the black and red balloons around, and it's all decorated. And on the back wall, as Chrissy pans up, you'll see "Thank Heaven for Kevin," and they're also to sort of herald poster type things. Our chance is now. This is Essendon, and it's time for Bomberland. Don't waste it. And 20 men together can't lose. Well, Kevin Sheedy was talking to his players just before as they were going through all their warm-up handball and all that sort of thing, and he said that if they all think of each other, they can take this game out. Essendon are going to field a very, very strong team this evening, and they wish to take out this 1981 Escort Championship Grand Final. They want it desperately, and I think it can only do them the world of good if they can take this one out tonight. The younger players in the team can get a lot of confidence from tonight's game, and I think they can go on and do much better things too in the 81 final series. So I think Essendon will come out. The Bombers will be in full flight, I'll tell you now, and they'll have all the armour on board. So we'll go back to Peter Landy now and see what's going on up there. Thank you, Pete.
Well, there's plenty happening out here as the Essendon cheer squad has just brought out the banner, and they're receiving suitable applause and jeers from, well, whichever side you support. Doug Wade has just made his way down into the Carlton dressing room. Doug, what's it like down there at the moment?
Well, it's very exciting down here at the moment, Peter. It was very quiet and subdued early because David had his players in the room giving them a talking to, but he's got them out in the room here now, and you probably ought to hear him in the background saying a few words, and it's a very exciting time for Carlton because even though they've been here and done it all before, Carlton, and done it well in the last 3 or 4 years, this is David's first year at Carlton, and there are a lot of younger players in the side that I'm sure are really looking forward to tonight. So the atmosphere down here is really great at the moment, and we're going to be in for a fantastic game of football in the Escort Grand Final. Back to you, Peter.
Right, thanks very much indeed, Doug, and we'll be back in the rooms in just a few moments for the official team changes, but first of all, we'll take this break from all studios.
A hunch, maybe.
I think it'll be a pretty good game just the same, Peter.
Kevin Sheedy.
Well, Kevin wants to win.
Ladies and gentlemen, Australian Football Championships, our sponsors, WD&HO Wills and the 7 Network, thank you all for the magnificent support during the 1981 series. Congratulations to the players of both the Carlton and Essendon teams for a magnificent display of Australian football tonight. And special congratulations to the 1981 Australian football champions, Essendon. And it does give me a great deal of pleasure on behalf of our sponsors, WD&HO Wills, who are represented here tonight by the Victorian manager, Alan Beale, to make the presentation of the 1981 Escort Cup to the Essendon captain, Simon Madden.
First of all, I'd probably like to thank Escort for making this cup available. Secondly, I'd like to commiserate to the Carlton Football Club. The main thing I'd like to say is that as captain, I'm very thrilled to have this cup. It's been a very big team effort. Tonight we had the 20 players on the field. It also goes to the 16 players who have played in the Escort Cups and did not represent us tonight. Also to the coach, Kevin Sheedy, who's put in a lot of work. Also, to the committee of the football club and the staff, all those people who make a team what it is. Finally, to the supporters who've braved the cold, thank you very much. We'll have a bit of a celebration here tonight, I think. It's a great joy to win this cup, but there's still 7 more weeks of the day football to go and about 3 or 4 or 5 finals for another. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the coach of the Essendon club, Kevin Sheedy.
Well, thank you. I would just like to, on behalf of the Essendon Football Club, congratulate the players that played tonight. I think they were magnificent. I would also like to congratulate the players that didn't make the final team tonight. I think there were 16 of them that deserve outright to be there. And I would like to congratulate them, and I would also like to thank all you people for attending here tonight. It's been a magnificent grand final. Thank you.